Like even when you arrive at a destination, it's not the interesting part. You get there and then you're going to continue to move on. There's going to be a new destination. So it's like a constant unfolding or a constant like journey. I've journeyed all the way to being able to paint things super realistically. And now that I've arrived at what I thought was a destination, I've like immediately now want to paint these like wonky shapes that have no definition to them really. My grandma put me in front of a canvas in her backyard in Imperial Beach when I was like 7. And it went from that early interest of having someone kind of guide you to do it to becoming very much my own, and then becoming this thing that just became wrapped up in my identity, but also more of a fixation thing. Screen printing was kind of this thing that I did because I had the facilities to be able to work on printmaking in school, where in my head I was like, oh, I could paint and draw wherever I want for the rest of my life. And so me studying that in school was kind of what took me to have that occupation in Detroit, being like a printmaker for an art publisher. I took that job knowing that I like printmaking and stuff, but this whole time I was just doing my own work and just trying to see where it would take me and how I can make a career as an artist. And it was after I left Detroit and moved back to San Diego that I was able to like just do art full time. I'm in that mode right now of thinking, what direction do I want to take it now that that goal or that destination was achieved? I like the diversity in work. Like I like having to design something for Patara. I like sitting down and having this different canvas to work with and having something that I don't have to have all this conceptual kind of feeling behind. It's more like playing with shapes, playing with colors, playing with patterns and stuff like that. And so I think that flexes a different part of my brain. So I like having this outlet of commercial work that is like making an object that lives in the world. For this pattern specifically for Patara, we played around a bit with it, you know, kind of throwing out some past work and stuff like that. I was bringing in this more abstract stuff and then working in the floral elements to it. I love skewed primary colors, at least that's what I call it. So red, yellow, blue, but I like pushing that blue into something that's a little bit more cooler and violet or like periwinkle, and taking the red and knocking it back to like being more of a wine color, and taking the yellow and making it golden or buttery. And once I got it painted and then digitized, just chopping it into those circles and dropping those in along with all the blue foliage. It's kind of just a play on those two things, the sun and the blue. The sun and the blue. And there's always those moments of like imposter syndrome where you're like, do I actually like doing this? Sometimes I'm painting in here and I get super frustrated. I'm like, why the fuck do I continue to do this? But I also recognize that if I haven't made something in a while and I start getting this intense angst, I'll get really irritated and agitated easily. And I just recognize like I have to feel fulfilled in like making certain things for me to like feel all right.
Best lemon tree in the neighborhood. The juiciest.
And like I said, if I run into a wall, I'll just stop work for that day when I know it's not happening and just go be outdoors. And that kind of like refreshes me and I could start again the next day. I mean, the past week I've been snorkeling a lot. Which has been cool. Swim with sharkies and stuff. I basically need to fuck off and go outside, and I need to just leave and do beautiful things out in nature. A friend of mine said it in a concise way as being input and output time. So we have all this output time where we're producing projects, we're producing things, and then kind of shut it down and have the input time where we're like exploring and like thinking of new ideas and thinking of new stuff you want to do or new directions. For me, my next goal is to figure out how to balance those two in a more healthy way. So I'm not just constantly hustling, but setting aside very regimented times where it's just like straight exploration on what I want to do and what I see myself doing in my personal art practice. What was the question again? You want to smell this?